What's up everyone? Welcome to another WarCraft 3 replay. I have to apologize that we're a little bit heavy on the Nightelf versus Undead lately, but I stumbled across a pretty awesome game and I thought I'm gonna check that out. I can't lie here, like, guys, I'm really excited for WarCraft 3 Reforged, and at the same time, casting WarCraft 3 right now still shows that there are definitely a few issues with the game. I mean, it's super old, so that's only natural, but I can't wait for them to implement a proper observer mode here as well. I'm sorry for the sounds that you have with the rally points, for example, but it's something that we can't really get past. So, for this time, we have Twisted Meadows, and we have all the way up to the top right our Nightelf player called Lemon. And all the way down to the bottom left, it is NightEnD as the Undead. This is going to be a pretty epic match, a real fun one, very enjoyable. I caught a little bit of it on stream when NightEnD was playing, and I said, dude, no matter how this game ends, I need the replay. And that's exactly where we are right now. Doesn't really come as a shocker that, again, we are starting with the Keeper of the Groove on the side of the Nightelf player. Now, keep in mind that on the 1st of December, there's going to be a new PTR patch out that is going to change things slightly. And amongst other things, the Keeper is going to see a bit of a nerf there, so things might change in the future. But for now, the Keeper, still a badass, and therefore he is the optimal choice here for our Nightelf, at least for the matchup. We have the Death Knight as well for NightEnD, and as you would expect here again with the early Tomb of Relics, not heading straight into Fiends, instead starting with the Crypt, adding the second Ziggurat right now. So here in Twisted Meadows you have a lot of small camps that you can creep early on. But as you can already tell, we have both of our players scouting quite early. This is still a 4-player map, so you're trying to figure out, does my opponent spawn close to me on a close spawn, or is it a cross position? And as both of them are about to find out, we indeed have a cross position here on the map. So, with that being said, we're going to keep our eyes especially on our Nightelf here a little bit, and I already talked about it a bit. Ooh, quick cancel here actually on the Ancient of War, if I'm not mistaken. Early Hunters Hall already too, and you can already tell that things are going to be a little bit different in this game. The Wisps are marching and on the way to the bottom left, so we are going to deal with a pretty awesome rush here on the side of the Nightelf, cancelling the original idea of getting some creep action going with an early Ancient of War here next to the observatory, and instead heading straight back down with the super early Hunter's Hall so that he can go into the Ancient Protectors here. NightEnD currently none the wiser. He has absolutely no idea what's happening here. The only thing that he sees is that we're currently seeing the Keeper making his way in, trying to get a bit of damage onto those Acolytes. Nightelf himself already starting to go straight for that Necropolis, or going for the upgrade, but we have the first Ancient Protector already being built here. So the whole idea of our Nightelf is just to keep NightEnD to the left. Just harass the left side of the base, draw his attention to the Keeper, try and make sure that no unit is actually sneaking over and sees what's happening here. But as you can tell, that Acolyte is making a bit of a beeline into the main base of the Nightelf, and at least at that moment in time, NightEnD could already see, okay, something is going on here. Now, one of the reasons why the Nightelf probably went straight into that strategy is that right now, if you go for such an Ancient Protector rush, it is pretty powerful, and of course NightEnD is currently one of the top ladder players, at least on Northrend, on the European server, and therefore that is one way to at least counter that to an extent. One already done. NightEnD still has absolutely no idea what's happening here. Or at least he doesn't know where. The Death Knight's still going for a bit of a scouting mission, but at the same time he's going to see pretty quickly what's going on. And at this point in time, first Ancient Protector is done. NightEnD knows what's happening. He's already more than halfway through the Necropolis, but he won't be able to get rid of those Ancient Protectors anytime soon. He's trying to make the play here, but with the Keeper being around and the first two Ancient Protectors already completed, another Wisp in the vicinity to make sure that he can also go for the repair. The only thing that he can really force here is one Ancient Protector down. Already a bit of a dispel here against skeletons, and of course draining the mana pool here on the Death Knight as well. The slight harass that we're seeing up to the top with at least one skeleton is going to make it a bit harder for Lemon, but so far for him things are actually pretty sweet. Has the Ancient of War in the back, immediately starting with the Glaive Throwers here, and of course now just attempting to siege up on NightEnD. And what's really going to be important as well is of course that little uphill battle that we have here, quite literally, because you need to maintain the uphill vision if you're the Nightelf. You need to keep something on the top of that small ramp here to make sure that you always have vision and that those Ancient Protectors can fire away. So NightEnD is keeping his cool at least for the time being. Altar of Darkness with the Lich as the second hero, still building the Zeroths in the back, and an Acolyte over. You can imagine he wants to go straight into meat wagons here. You need something to break through this, and ghouls are not gonna cut it, not against those two Ancient Protectors that we already have in play, and the continuously attempt that we see from Lemon to build another one. Double Ancient of War in the back, Glaive Throwers being built, even more Wisps coming over. Lemon is really putting everything on one card right now, trying to make that play here. And at the same time, the Death Knight is low already too. So a pretty dire situation actually for NightEnD right now. Double Slaughterhouse in the making though. And the one thing that really matters if you are under such a siege is you need to keep your cool. And you need to make sure that you don't lose too much. There's oftentimes situations where you can even try and go for a bit of a base trade depending on the matchup. We've seen things like this in the past. But NightEnD got really caught this early, or so early, that he doesn't even have an expansion or anything. So it's tricky for him. Lich comes out, immediate Nova to the face of the Keeper. But with two Glaive Throwers, the shop is already gone. And that's the first big problem. Now you don't have access to those items anymore, and if you look up here, we at least have a slaughterhouse done, so immediately the production of meat wagons is starting up here, but 3 Ancient Protectors, we already have 3 Glaive Throwers. Not a lot of experience though on the Keeper. It's one downside that we have for Lemon, but then again, his saving grace is that on the Undead side, we don't see a lot of experience either, since it didn't really have any time to creep as well. So we are seeing still the main focus here on the structures down here. Already Moonwells being built. Can already promise you one thing, at this point in time, the only thing that NightEnD wants to do is pee into those Moonwells, because he's going to be pretty pissed. But we're having now that pressure already on the Crypt too. And the Crypt is actually something that NightEnD doesn't really need right now. You see he's not even repairing. Acolytes are still just going for gold, so the Crypt is going to be sacrificed eventually. The ghouls are not going to cut it here, and you can't switch into fiends at that point either, at least not effectively. You need those resources for the meat wagons, and at least for the time, 2 are already in. 2 meat wagons against 4 or 5 Glaive Throwers and the triple Ancient Protector here, and things are really starting to hurt. And Lemon doesn't even let up. There's more Wisps on the way immediately. He needs to make sure that he also has the Wisps ready to repair the Glaive Throwers, but already NightEnD just trying to build as much of an army as he possibly can, but the Nightelf definitely doing a really, really good job of applying pressure here. Now, one of the things that we still have to point out here is no one has actually crypt even a gold mine, so there's no opportunity for the Nightelf to maybe even expand behind all of this. He went straight for that rush, so that's one of the things that at least work for NightEnD now. He knows that this is all the Nightelf has. If you break through that and you don't lose too much, you at least have a decent position here. But this is just a battle of siege engine at this point. 4 meat wagons by now. And so far, Lemon is actually doing well. Nice route here on the Lich, but the coil saves him for now. And that's, of course, the big danger here. 1 Ancient Protector goes down. But the problem is oftentimes if you overstep just a little bit and then Entangle hits you, then you're not only in range of those Glaive Throwers, but also in the range of the Ancient Protectors that cost NightEnD already a fair amount of ghouls, but at the same time now we're also seeing that Lich under pressure whenever he gets a little bit too close. Now, one of the big things is that our Nightelf is still on the Tree of Life, so there is absolutely no way for him to even get a second hero. That's the advantage that NightEnD definitely has. He has a bit of a tech advantage over his opponent with that Lich as the second hero, and of course also the Slaughterhouse. Question just remains, how much can you really rely onto the Slaughterhouse? Another AP goes down, and NightEnD actually really holding pretty well here. At this point, Lemon has to consider if he might have to give this up or how he's going to make that play. There's 2 Moonwells down here that he would have to sacrifice if he wants to retreat. Double Ancient of War as well. But NightEnD looking really strong right now for this. Mainly focusing still on those meat wagons, and you see that actually both of the slaughterhouses are still only producing meat wagons here. It's really just the war engines that are being focused on, and another AP about to fall. All the Ancient Protectors are down, but Lemon is still staying with the strategy. At least, oh my god, the Keeper actually eating every single shot here from the meat wagons and not liking it too much. Nothing happening in the main base of the Nightelf. Actually, at this point, you can probably question where the main base actually is. Up down here, though, we have a couple of archers joining the fun, at least for now. But this is just a big, big bust here for the Nightelf, at least for the time being. Don't get me wrong, Lemon has actually done quite a bit of damage. He took the crypt down, he took the shop down, he was able to put the pressure on, but he needs to do a little bit more if he wants to be successful here. Right now, the Nightelf is already under supply because he's losing those 2 Moonwells, so he needs more Moonwells if he even wants to build any units. There's a couple of archers in play, but NightEnD can't really break out of this just yet. He might have been able to destroy the siege, but at the same time, we still have a lot of units here for Lemon. He's starting to apply even more pressure right now with those glaive throwers. But of course, the archers falling are now causing the Lich to jump to level 2. We already have the Death Knight about to hit the next level as well. But a quick town portal is helping Lemon to break out here. So by normal means, you would actually think, okay, this has to be it, right? I mean, you break the siege, the game's done. But if you look up here to the top, we still have a fair amount of supply for our Nightelf. We're currently looking at 43 supply overall. And NightEnD is actually only at 48 if we're taking a quick look at his own vision. So he's now trying to go into an Altar of Darkness. That was also sniped a bit earlier. Sacrificial Pit and also another Crypt. So he lost a little bit of infrastructure. That's a bit of an issue. And he's now attempting to just like get those Undead heroes high. We talked about the importance of really having the nukes with Coil Nova on level 2 at least to get solid damage in against heroes, especially the Keeper of the Groove. But we also have up to the of the Grove. I don't know. That's like a thing since Warcraft 3 that is never gonna go away. So groovy as he is, our little keeper here has now the robe of the Magi. +6 in intelligence isn't really too bad if you're already an intelligence-based hero, so that at least for now is working out for him. And here's the Keeper close to level 3, and is already making his way up over to the next few creep spots. So he has a tiny one right here, but of course you also have the access straight up there to the expansion. That's where he's currently headed. Now, NightEnD is of course pretty much doing the same thing. For him, he knows that he is in a pretty decent spot. He broke through the entire attack, even found the Scourge Bone Chimes here, so the Dreadlord Aura and Claws of Attack +6. Doesn't really have any melee units that can capitalize on the Aura at this point, but that's a potential switch into Aboms that he could go for later on, especially considering that he already has the double Slaughterhouse. Now he's not on a Black Citadel, so that's a bit of an issue, but we are seeing him with another setup here, trying to go for the Goblin Observatory now to get even more XP. From the perspective of the Nightelf, though, like his whole idea seems to be, okay, get access to the gold mine, already attempting to expand here, and in his main base, he's also starting the tech into Tier 2, Trio of Life, going to be upgraded fairly soon, and he still has a pretty decent amount of ranged units. Doesn't really have a lot of block at the front, but this is still very heavy in siege damage. NightEnD down here is now also starting his own attack and is starting to get a few more items in. And he actually gets a Belt of Giant Strength +6. Stats item in general are usually pretty decent for players or for heroes in Warcraft 3. So the Death Knight is a little bit more hit point heavy too. And since it's the only real melee unit in the entire army of the Undead player, it really helps NightEnD to have that Death Knight being a little bit more beefy when it comes to the hit points. So an expansion on the side of the Nightelf has now started, and we're seeing at the same time Lemon shadowed actually by a shade here. So Nightelf knows exactly what's going on at this point in time. Another creep attempt. And Rune Brace. Oh, that's a dream. Like, if you're playing against Undead, it doesn't get any sexier than that. You have a Talisman of Evasion and you have Rune Braces. This basically means that a Keeper is going to be incredibly difficult to kill through those nukes in particular. Even the Shredder being bought now on the side of Lemon because he just says, okay, I need to make sure that I'm not going to run into any wood problems here anytime soon. NightEnD now with a move up to the top. I don't really think he has scouted... Oh, he actually has another shade up here. So he has scouted what's going on here with the expansion and makes his way over. And he still knows exactly where the army is positioned too. And that's of course also important because he knows about the Zeppelin here. And that immediately leads him also with the Gargoyle to move into that. So he knows that the Nightelf is actually making his way over to his own base. But still, for him, a bit of a priority to take down that expansion attempt. He's just trying to shut down Lemon as hard as he can right now. And that expansion gets cancelled quickly, the Wisp gets detonated, and in the meantime the portal started just to make sure that he's not going to be surprised here by any additional ancient protectors on the side of Lemon. And our Nightelf is already setting this up. Sees of course now also that we have a Sacrificial Pit on NightEnd's side, goes in immediately, but that Coil Nova attempt here against the units, taking them down pretty quickly here, not focusing on the Keeper just yet, and Nightelf is just trying to kite here. The problem is that we still have a lot of glaive throwers right there that could home in on the structures. Good Antenal here on the Death Knight. Has boots though, and also a potion of lesser invulnerability when need be. But still, Lemon is chasing him down pretty effectively. Nova hits, but look at those glaive throwers. They're actually homing in on the Black Citadel. And the Black Citadel is not really looking too pretty at this point. NightEnD gets another entangle on the Death Knight, and that could be a huge problem for him right now. Potion of lesser invulnerability is used. The Citadel falls at exactly the same time. No main structure anymore for NightEnD, and he's gonna be revealed in only 2 minutes. But is at least for now able to chase down these archers and take them down one by one, bringing the Lich nearly to level 4. Glaive Throwers down here, doing even more work, taking the altar down again. No Altar of Darkness anymore, but the 2 slaughterhouses are still in play. And with the Black Citadel, at least for time being here on the map, we are now having the first few abominations being built, and we have the Destroyer form being researched. So NightEnD is at least getting something done here. But Lemon is still in a spot where he took down his opponent's main structure. And he has that Keeper of the Groove that's nearly on level 5. Now Lemon, on the other hand, is not really doing the best job with his macro right now, as you can see. He has 1,000 gold and 1,000 wood, so he could really do well by just expanding again, by building a couple of units behind it. But on the macro side, is definitely a bit weaker than NightEnD, and that's something that the Undead is currently trying to abuse as much as he can. That one Gargoyle is still doing a decent job trying to chase all of this down and getting a few more glaive throwers eliminated. Same time though, we have Ancient of Winds being built. So what we're actually seeing on the side of Lemon is trying to make another tech swap. He already realizes that on the side of NightEnD we have a massive amount of meat wagons, we have a couple of obsidian statues. He's probably seen an abomination here too, so he's trying to make a switch over into air units, whereas we are having for NightEnD an expansion attempt on himself. Necropolis and the Haunted Gold Mine are being built here. Also puts another Altar of Darkness into his own main base, but he doesn't have a main structure here anymore. And that of course also makes sure that he cannot really town portal back into his own base any longer. 46 supply for Lemon. Switching over to NightEnD for a second, we see him at 55, so he is ahead in the hero levels. He's also ahead when it comes to overall supply. But he still has a bit of an issue when it comes to the sheer attack. The shades definitely help him to also like realize that there's another expansion attempt, but Lemon is already on the way once more, on the way down here. Gets a couple of treants in, keep that level 5 Keeper soon to be in mind as well. And we're having now next to those glaive throwers also the first few hippogriffs starting to make their way down. Archers are there, hippogriffs right are therefore definitely an option, and there's only one lone gargoyle that had to deal earlier with that Zeppelin that we saw. But at the time now, it's just a question of where you can get that access. And you can actually see that Lemon is shocking around here. He wants to see how far he can get. The problem is, I don't really think he knows about this expansion. So at this point, he's doing his best to make sure that he is keeping the Undead player low. He wants to rely on the double income here for himself. And is actually really capitalizing on the entangle here still. Trying to go in for the statues and also, of course, the abomination. But needs to deal with the gargoyle at the same time. And NightEnD is still dancing around. Has also to shut down those treants that are continuously being sent over to his meat wagons. Expansion has been scouted out as well, and with the treants and also the Keeper, he's doing a great job here. For NightEnD, this is really an annoying situation because he has to multitask the entire time like crazy. Deal with the harass on the expansion, need to make sure that his meat wagons don't fall, and also keep an eye on his main base, since we continuously have that attempt to move in there. Keeper level 5 eats the Nova, but keep those rune bracers in mind. Minus 33% damage reduction. Glaive Throwers on the way again, starting to attempt and snipe that Altar of Darkness. Death Knight fallen earlier, and that's a massive issue here right now. We're also seeing the Keeper again going straight in, trying to get a couple of units here destroyed, especially with the Entangle, but also the Hippogriff Riders are attacking, but are met by one Gargoyle, and especially the level 5 Lich with that +6 glove, +6 claws of attack is doing real work here. Another attempt now though to get the Abomination down, and a Keeper might be low, but he's not down for the count just yet, and still has access to those Rune Bracers. Eventually finally goes for the town portal here. We have also the Death Knight just back, but the Altar of Darkness has fallen again, and a couple of ghouls chasing away those glaive throwers that we saw in the main. So for the time being, both of the players heading into expansions for themselves. And looking over to Lemon, I mean, he still has that Ancient of Wonders that he's now building, trying to equip the Keeper a little bit better with items, but he's starting to really run out of juice a little bit. So you has made a couple of switches in tech. He wanted to go into the Hippogriff Riders. He started off with an Ancient Protector rush and heading straight into the Glaive Throwers. But at the same time now, he's in a really awkward spot where first of all, the tech swaps haven't really worked out for him. And he's also starting to lose some ground here, especially with NightEnD attempting to get some map control here, continuously using the vision granted by the Shades to move in against expansions. And we are seeing just a counter approach from his opponent attempting to do the same. But the one thing that Lemon never really picked up on is that there's still a Shade following his Keeper. And that's a massive, massive issue. Because the entire time NightEnD just simply knows what's coming. And he's currently using that to just get that town portal ready. He knows he had the time to go for the expansion up to the top. Tries and take that down. And now he's able to once again save his own base. And he's already attacking again. Going straight into the Necropolis here. This expansion had to be taken down. We're seeing the Keeper making a final attempt here to see if he can maybe change the tides of the battle, but it looks very, very much unlikely. Keeper already being low here, going for the trains once again, but things are not looking pretty. Those two Hippogriff Riders are attempting to somehow take down the statues, but we have already a Spirit Tower in play here, and there's just too much anti-air. With the Gargoyle around and the Lich as well, there's just no way for him to beat this. Down goes the Keeper, and that's the final nail in the coffin as NightEnD breaks through the Ancient Protector siege and is able to win the game in the long run. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the game here. A little bit of a different match. I know we were still looking at an Undead versus Nightelf, but with the early rush with the Ancient Protectors, I thought I would still give that game a little bit of a look. I know that the two players weren't necessarily quite on the same skill level here, but I thought it was still a very entertaining match considering how back and forth, well, how long it actually lasted even after we saw that Ancient Protector rush being broken through. So very annoying to play against for sure. NightEnD handled it really well though. But Lemon, with a pretty good idea, trying to make that work out for him, didn't in the end work as designed, but you could tell how it's sneaky, especially those glaive throwers with the second attempt were against the structures. Now, if you liked the replay, make sure that you also hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet, and let me know in the comments what you think about the commentary lately. So we're going to have a bit more WarCraft 3 now in this HGC break that we have. If there's a couple of Heroes games that are coming up, I'm going to put them on the channel too, so don't worry, I'm not going to only focus here on WarCraft 3 content, but with Reforged coming up next year, that is of course going to be something that we're going to dabble in a little bit. Hope that you guys enjoyed the game, and I'm going to see you next time with another video here on YouTube. Have a good week and see you guys soon. Bye bye.